Hey YouTubians, it's Tony here from We Try Anything. Channel likes to try anything, so you don't have to. Today what we're going to take a look at is another Casio watch from their range, and this one being a slightly different watch to the norm that I have featured on here. This one being the WS300. What we're going to do is take a look around the actual design of the watch, mention some of the materials and the sizes. I'm going to show you quickly show you some of the functions of this watch, and also talk about what it's like to wear on the wrist. First things first, the thing that will stand out from this watch is the actual dial, and that's the first thing I'm going to talk about. Obviously what you get is it's just a real kind of unique thing from Casio in this aspect, and that is you've got obviously the analog part of the dial going on here, as well as you've got two digital displays. Now obviously the two digital displays, one they can feature a few different things as such, which I'll show you when I go through the actual modes going on here, but straight away it is quite a unique watch. Now this watch is in a few other flavors as such, where I'll show you on screen now, where you've got a watch to the left of what I'm showing you on screen, where it's got a white background to the actual dial, and the actual bracelet or strap as it were is black, and to the right of the actual what I'm showing you on screen, you've got again white dial, but also you've got like a blue strap and blue bezel to it, which obviously the bezel doesn't move, so you know you can get it in a few different colors and such like that. Going back to the actual what the watch is like, I mean obviously with this particular example I've got going on here, which I got from eBay, the reason why I get them from eBay is just to show some of the scratches and some of the as it were how daily use would affect these type of watches. But obviously this one here has what would be a Velcro strap to it, which is quite interesting really, because with a Velcro strap it should fit in essence most arms. Now obviously, or most wrists as it were. Now obviously what you've got here is the usual little element of resin going on here. You've got the plastic buckle with the Casio emblazoned on it, or what buckle as such, it's just what the actual strap will go around to keep it on your arm. And then obviously you've got the Velcro element here, and then you've got the actual strap retainer, as I would call it, which is also of a resin material, and it's got the lap memory 10, because it does have 10 lap memories that this would remember, so it's quite a nice little feature if you are into stopwatches and measuring time as such. But you know, I don't think this may be standard with this watch. Now please correct me if I'm wrong in this comments below, but you know, it is one that I did pick up from eBay. The other materials that this is made out of, what you've got is an acrylic crystal dial window going on here. Obviously it will pick up scratches, as you can see. There's just some micro scratches that I managed to get rid of. The one that's in there seems to actually be within the actual digital display, so I did try and remove it. Unfortunately I couldn't, so you know, just be aware, you know, this is what happens when you pick up watches that are pre-loved from eBay. Obviously, as I've mentioned, what stands out is you've got the analog element, and you've also got the two digital displays on the back, and I'll mention the module number as well. You've got a module number of 2329, and you've also got a stainless steel back to it, which allows this watch, it has a 10 bar water resistance, which is 100 meters. It features a Japanese movement, and I believe the movement is powered by you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, a 3-year battery. So you know, there's it's quite a rugged type watch. I mean, in terms of you know, handling it and stuff, it's not the heaviest of watches out there. But also, just mentioning the quartz movement, it does have a plus and minus of 30 seconds per month accuracy, which is great on these sort of watches. So you know, it's got a fairly reliable movement to it, which is really good. Now the one thing you will notice obviously with the design, with it having the two digital displays, it's got like a teardrop design to it, which is what I've coined it at, and it's not dissimilar to what I've reviewed in the past, which is this AW24. I mean, they're about the same size, with this one being it has a 43mm case diameter, which is from the side to the crown. It also has a 13mm case thickness, and lug to lug it is 46mm. So you know, it's not the smallest of watches, but as I say, it is quite close to the AW24 in terms of the actual design, which I believe the A24 just has a slightly bigger dial to it, but just due to the fact that obviously this has got a dual digital display. But you know, I have reviewed this AW24 on my channel, so if, you know, I'll pop a little link up there if you want to have a look at how that works. But going through the functions of the watch, first function I am going to talk about is the actual backlighting. Now it doesn't use a LED backlight like you would probably expect from some of the actual analog watches that have been featured on this channel. It features an I believe like a full-on backlight, like an electro-luminescence type backlight. Now obviously what I'll do, I'll show you, I mean I'll press it here. Obviously you won't be able to see it in here, but I've obviously popped a little clip there to the right just to show you what it's like. Now interestingly, because of the electroluminescence, you can actually turn on an auto light switch, so when you kind of flick the watch, as it were, it will automatically illuminate, and I'd imagine there's a kind of an allowance to the how long you can do that for, because it will, every time you move your wrist, it will deplete the battery. So just be aware of that. But that function is available if you just want to flick your wrist. You can turn that on, and there's like a little icon that appears down the bottom right, just to indicate that you have got auto light on. And as you flick your wrist, as I say, towards like a 45-degree angle, you know, the light, it will illuminate in the dark, which is a really handy little feature if you can't keep pressing that all the time. Now the other features it has, which is worth knowing, it has a stopwatch with split times as well. It has the stopwatch has a 100th of a second stopwatch with a measuring capacity of 9 hours 59 minutes 59 seconds .99. It also has a measuring unit of 100th of a second for the first 60 minutes and a 1 second interval or 1 second measurement after 60 minutes. And also it will measure elapsed time, lap time, split time, but also it does have a 10 lap split time memory, which is quite a nice little function here if you want something that's quite, you know, elegant in the way it looks, or quite unique in the way it looks. It will measure an amount up to 10 lap times or split times, as it were. So nice little function there. The next one is the obviously, as you can see, that's where the split times, where you can go through and just measure or view what you've recorded. And then what it also has is an alarm. Now for the alarm, you can have a daily alarm and also a hourly time signal. So, you know, you do have, it is quite a simplistic alarm. It's not got like the 5 alarms which some of the other Casios feature, but you know, you do have an alarm function going on here, which is indicated by the top part of the actual dual display. And then what you go back to is the actual date, or you know, like the main screen, as it were. But what other aspect of this watch you could do is you could probably set up what would be a dual time setup. Now it doesn't have that as a feature on here, but it is something that you could set yourself. So like for example, you could have that as your local time by just, you know, amending the actual time using the actual crown. When you pull it out, you can amend the actual time of what's going on locally. And then what you can do is set the time down the bottom so it features like a time, say for example in New York, so it would be 2 minutes past 5 in the morning, being New York being 5 hours behind. And then you can feature that as your the time in which you're communicating with loved ones or business associates in another part of the world. So, you know, you could have that as a function. Or if you are traveling the world, so for example, you could amend that to world time, and then you can amend that to say UK time, or a time which is where you are based normally. But if you are, say, in New York, that could go 5 hours behind, and that could be your UK time or your local time, or the time in which you've come from. So you could have a nice, interesting world traveler time setup, really. So it is a nice, you know, nice little handy function of this watch that isn't sold as a function, but it could be a function that you could use. But in terms of you know, the overall aesthetics of the watch, I really do like the look of this watch. And the actual white dial versions, which I've shown you earlier, are probably a bit more prettier than this. And in terms of the actual electroluminescence, would probably work a bit better in this aspect. But otherwise, you know, it really is a good looking watch. And I just think the actual uniqueness of the two digital displays just set it apart from other watches that you may be able to get in this kind of price range, or in this kind of as it were, range of watches. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop it on my wrist and say what it's like to wear. So here it is on the wrist, and I've got to say it is comfortable, and obviously it's going to be comfortable because you can adjust it as you can tighten it as close to your wrist as possible, really, which is really nice. Is a real nice feature of this particular strap on this watch. And you know, I really do like the look of it on my wrist. Now obviously some people may say that this watch may be a bit small, but I don't think it is. I just think it's just right, really. I mean, my wrist, I think, is about 6.5, maybe 7 inches, and it is a nice look to this watch. And as I say, I would imagine if you did manage to find a WS300 which has the white dial to it, it will kind of stand out a lot more than what I've got going on here. The only thing I will say is that these do tend to kind of stand out, but as I say, I'm not too sure if this is a strap that you would get if you was to buy this watch brand new from a store, so you'll have to forgive me on that. But in this aspect, I mean, obviously it does kind of just poke out a little from the actual wrist, so you know, popping like a hoodie or a jumper on or something like, or having a shirt, it may just hinder the actual sleeve or the cuff going over the watch. But other than that, I mean, it doesn't hinder my hand movement or anything like that, and I think it is a really nice watch. It's quite sporty, it's quite youthful, and you know, it's got that uniqueness. And I've got to say, for that aspect, I really do think that if you do get the chance to buy something like that, then you know, just jump at it, because it is a nice watch to add to the collection. It's something unique, a little bit different. I mean, obviously you do have the AW24 as well as a very slight comparison to it, but you know, in the aspect of this WS300, if you do get the chance, you know, it is a very comfortable watch to wear. There's nothing that kind of stands out from it. You can tighten it as much as you want, and it is a lot more adjustable than, you know, like your usual strap watches. But you know, as I say, if it is something that you are looking, or like a unique watch that you wish to add to the collection or wear on a daily basis, then you know, have a look at this one. It's well worth looking at. So I hope you liked the little review of this watch. If you did, then click on the like button, always helps. If you want to see more products, watches, tutorials and stuff like that coming to the channel very soon, click on the subscription button below. And thank you for watching this review, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.